Roman shades are one of the most popular window treatments on the market today. At least in my workroom they are. And I am going to guess that they are in yours too. Now, with this high demand along with the windows covering safety standards that we must adhere to, and as a workroom, we are looking for systems that are easy to assemble, and they meet the needs of our customers. Now, I would like for you all to tell me in the comments below, what type of systems are you most interested in? And how does one slim headrail system along with 5 different components sound to all of you? Well, in just a moment, I am going to introduce you to my special guest who may have a solution that you are looking for. So I want all of you to get out your pen and paper, take some notes, and share this out so others can learn about these new products too. Welcome to this episode of Live with Sandra V. My name is Sandra VanSickle, and this is where I live out my goal of educating, inspiring, and promoting others in the industry that share my same vision. And tonight, I want to introduce Nina to all of you. Now, like myself and many of you, she owns a custom drapery workroom called Noble Design. I had to make sure I had that right.
Right.
And like I said, like myself and many of you out there, she had the same need that we have. You know, finding the right Roman shade lift system that meets the standards, meets our needs and our clients' needs. And you know, as we go on, you know, and we're making these Roman shades, they're just not Roman shades anymore. They're top down, bottom up. They're spring system, right? They're cordless. They have there's more options out there. All right. So I have to tell you, when she met the folks from VAKO and saw the products, she knew not only could she use them, but she could distribute them as well. And so she has recently partnered with VAKO and is now the proud owner of My Shade Kit. All right, now, Nina, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you are here.
Thanks for having me, Sandra. It's my pleasure entirely.
Yeah, we
Matching
have
shirt.
that shirt. These are her branding colors. Now, Nina, tell us a little bit about yourself and VAKO.
So I'll start with a little bit about myself. I have extended experience in the textile industry in various positions. I'm a professional pattern maker and spent most of my career in software industry for the fashion simply. Software for the fashion. And a couple of years ago, I decided to step down from constantly being on the road and traveling around the country and abroad, and decided to completely dedicate my time to my workroom, which at the time was a side business for me. You know how it is. Kids are growing up, they need more of their mom at home and things like that. So all these things led to my decision to completely devote my time to the workroom. Sandra and I had a little talk earlier today, and I said once you learn how to sew, it doesn't become simply your profession. It's not a hobby. It's not even things you do for life. It's simply something more like a diagnosis to me.
Yeah, diagnosis.
Once it's in your blood, it stays there forever.
Exactly.
At least that's how it is for most of us, I guess. So I met VAKO people exactly 1 year ago at the Custom Workroom conference. And what stopped me at there, but there are a lot of vendors showing their new products for Roman shades. I've always been fascinated by the Roman shades, but something caught my attention specifically at their booth, and it was something that it's called double spool. Basically, they have a drum that goes into the headrail and runs 2 spools at a time to operate top down, bottom up shade. and it was so sleek and so elegant, and I was blown away, honestly. And I stopped and started chatting with them, and little by little we got to know each other, and I offered some of my help to um, start promoting their product because they obviously were new to the U.S. market. And so all these things led to our partnership today, and starting of our new business, in addition to our workroom. So the business that we started with them, we decided to name it My Cage Sheet, because basically our business motto is built around the idea that we will sell pre-assembled kits. I decided to do that because for a number of years, I was buying raw materials, and you know how hard it is to cut aluminum profiles and aluminum parts, so you need a special blade and stuff like that. We invested in all of these, but some of my fellow colleagues around the area would come to me and cut their own parts, and I thought that for a small workroom this might be a problem, so that's why we would like to offer assembled kits. And so this is how we started myshadekit.com. And but as soon as we started in, we saw a lot of interest from different workrooms for raw materials. They were like, oh, we like to stock up on Headrails, and we like to assemble the shades as we need them. So we decided not long ago to extend our business model and offer also pre-cut lengths at 4, 6, and 8 feet long components. So you can assemble those at your own convenience. So the business is pretty new for us, and I have to admit we're still working on the website aspect. Our idea is that we will build a website where everybody can visit. They can configure their own shade kit or hardware. They can put it in their cart, press a button, pay, and the thing ships out the following day. At the same time, the same way, we will offer the raw materials as well, all the other components, and we very hard working on this to happen as soon as possible. But as soon as that happens, we'll be glad to share that with you. So please make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and stay tuned for more updates.
Yeah. And later on this evening or first thing in the morning, I will go in and we will, because it's myshadekit.com, but I will put in your other information on how they can reach you. We meant to do that. I'm having some issues with Facebook right now, y'all. So, so it's a little nervous tonight, but we will get that out there so you'll know how to reach her. Now, before I turn this over to you, I want to say real quickly that I want to mention that VAKO is a proud sponsor of the Artisan Project, the IWC Artisan Project. And as director of the Workroom Central, I have truly enjoyed building a relationship with them. They're just a wonderful company. And I think that all of you are going to love this product tonight. So go ahead and type in there, please. What product are you most interested in? What Headrail system? I'm sure that you're going to see all of that here tonight, but tell me what interests all of you the most. And please, again, share this out so that others within the industry can go ahead. I know there's a lot of folks that reach out to me, say, Sandra, remind me. It's hard for me to remind everybody, but if you would do that for me, I would appreciate that. So, okay, I'm going to let you have this. I am going to move over here. We're trying to do our social distancing thing here. And so thank you all in advance for being here, and ask your questions, and we will pause from time to time and get them answered. Okay, take it away there.
All right. If some of you are familiar already with VAKO's products, they offer a wide range of drapery hardware, and Roman Shades hardware. One of their main product, and the one that we decided to start and first introduce to the US consumers, is the 2004 Roman Shade system. 2004 indicates the type of the profile, and this system offers 5 different lift systems. So all of those 5 different lift systems will fit into the same profile. So that this profile maybe looks very familiar to you from other brands. It's very similar to what you've already seen on the market, with one difference that the opening here is very small. It's a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. That makes the operation of the shade very silent, and it's not loud at all. So I will start with the first and most simple configuration. That's the chain configuration. The chain configuration, I have 2 of those chain shades here. They come with a clutch that's very much like any other clutch, nothing fancy to see here. This clutch comes in 2 different configurations, 1-to-1 and 1-to-4, meaning that 1-to-1 is our lightweight clutch, and it can support shades up to 13 pounds. If the shade is a little heavier, we have a heavy-duty version of this clutch, which supports weight up to 18 pounds. So here you will see the difference between those 2 clutches, how they operate. That's the 1-to-1, very easy and very quite fast traverse. And this is the heavy-duty. My shade apparently has the same weight, but as you see, this goes a little slower. It makes more rotations.
Now, is there a reason why someone would choose one over the other?
Just wait.
Just wait. Okay.
Yes. Assembling is quite easy. You don't need a screw to put your chain into here. You just pop up the end cap and then pop back in. It clicks and it's assembled. This system is driven by drums. Our drums are pre-wind. They come with a cord already attached to them, and it slides quite easily into the rail system, into the rail. If only my hands were not shaking. Oh,
of course you wanted to go in.
Yes.
It is very easy. I can vouch for that.
All right. So, yeah, it slides in quite easily. And once again, here you don't need any screw to lock this cord into the right position. You just clip this bar, this pull here, and the drum is locked. To open it, push it back on, open that tab, and now it moves. Some of you may have seen already, and be mindful of that. When you receive this kit, it will come with this orange part here. This little guy is called safety pin, and it's there to prevent the drum from rotating. So when we ship it, we want to keep everything in place and not messed. So we use this pin to lock the cord, so the cord does not operate. If you pull this pin out, then the drum can start rotating. So we suggest when you receive your kit, you open it, you lay your shade on the floor, on the table, you thread the cord, and only after you're done, you lift the shade up to test it on the stand, you pull the safety pins and it operates. The kits are assembled with weight bar. They all will come with weight bar. We have this aluminum weight bar, which is 1 inch wide, and we have 1.5 inch wide weight bar. With those shades, you don't need much weight on it, but you know, this is simply personal preference. This headrail comes with several different brackets that you can choose from. When you configure your shade, you have to choose between those different brackets. So we have the spring bracket, and this is a combined bracket, wall and ceiling mount. We have the same bracket, which is a little wider. This is 1.5 inch, and it covers entirely the top of the headrail. So you have projection of 1.5. Or if you have a deeper window, then you can use this one, which is 1.75 projection. All right. Or you can use the swivel bracket. All these three brackets are combined for wall and ceiling mount. And we have strictly ceiling swivel bracket. I think most of you are familiar with all these brackets as you've seen them before. So the beauty of this system comes from the fact that everything fits into the same rail. No matter what lift system you will choose, everything will fit into this profile. So if you like to buy in bulk and assemble the shades on your own time, this makes for very efficient programs. You don't have to stock up on different headrails for the different lift system. You only have to have one with different components, and you can interchange them anytime and any way you want. Sandy, do we have questions about this lift system?
Let's see. I've asked them what they like, and they're looking for the spring system, top down, bottom up, cordless and motorized, top down, bottom up, cordless and motorized. And we have, Lori said that no one's asked any questions yet, so if you have any questions, let us know. And let's see, Lori says that she has had, wait a second, she has saw VAKO and impressed with their products. Yeah. I'm going to see if that was a question, Lori. But no questions, so let us know if you have any questions out there. Oh, and then, yes, there are some questions. Do all the brackets come with the kits?
The kits are assembled with the bottom weight bar and the brackets.
Okay.
Yes.
And then another question, can they be mounted to a board?
Yes, they can. As a matter of fact, the one that I just took down is mounted to a board. It is 1.5 inch board, and then I have brackets mounted to the board and headrail clipped to those brackets.
Okay.
Yes.
And the other question is, what size? Julie was asking, what size is the cord?
Oh, that's a very good question, and thanks for asking that. The cord is 1.2 millimeters. It's a little thinner than the 1.4 that we largely use here in the States, but that's another feature of VAKO system. And actually the spring system, when we come to that, uses even thinner cord. The cord, although being thinner than the one we know, it is very strong and can support just as well the same weight. So no risk of breaking. All our drums, with exception for the top down bottom up, come with the cord already attached. The cord is quite long. It's about 100 and something inches. I can't be certain about the exact length, but it's quite enough for the longest shade we made. And if you ever happen to have a longer shade than that, you just need to specify that in the specs, and we will make sure that we will attach a longer cord.
Now, Lisa asks, can you use a metal bead chain with that? That's a
Yes,
good
of
question.
course. Yes. This is 4/5 size bead chain, and all I'm sorry, I don't have a metal here, but all cords we assemble the shade with a cord, and the cord could right now we offer white and off-white as long as nickel metal, and you can choose between these three colors. We are planning to extend our metal collection, and the metal collection being coming in a roll could be customized by length, so you can have whatever length you wanted. We plan to offer 4 standard lengths for the chain, and like I said, for now these 3 colors, but in the meantime, if you have any other preferences, you can use any other cord that you buy from the market, or any other metal cord with the same size.
Very good.
So I wanted to say a version of this chain system and similar clutch is our crank rod lift system. So this shade has a clutch that's similar to this one, but instead of this cap here and the wheel for the beaded chain, it comes with a hook with a little eyelet here. I'll take that back to the camera to show.
Okay.
A close up. Okay, so it is right here. There is a little eyelet. Well, not very little, but and on the side we have a rod that works as a crank, and you can simply stick that rod into the eyelet and then start rolling your shade. I'll put it back on the stand and show that. So it works just like an awning, and that's how you raise and lower your shade. This is a perfect solution for commercial applications like restaurants or bars where you have a line of windows, and you don't want everybody to mess up with them. You have one stick of this and keep it behind a counter, and bartender or whoever from the staff is in charge with those, and they could access that and operate the shades. Also very useful for very tall windows when you don't want to have this long chain hanging down and obstructing. You have one long rod and you can access it with that. So this rod, if you order that set, the rod comes this of course is very short because it's my sample, but this could be cut by size. So you specify how long you want the rod, and we cut it by size.
Good, good. And Kelly wants to know, do they have their own tension device?
Another great question. Thank you, Kelly. They do. They have 3 or 4 different tension devices. Unfortunately, with that company originating from the Netherlands in Europe, those devices do not meet the ANSI standards requirements that we have in place in here, and therefore we decided not to offer them. Also, I found, based on my personal experience, that different designers have different preferences for the attention devices. Not everybody likes those that I will use. Somebody prefers something special. Somebody wants to match it with something else that's on the other room already. And for those reasons, we decided not to offer them. So yeah, unfortunately, that's the answer. We need to comply with the standards set in to the States.
Yeah.
So
and that we probably can just get those from like Rolly or United or something.
You can use anyone you want. Anyone that works with the beaded chain loop will work with those.
Yeah, as long as you use them. Now Lisa
Ring
wants
locks.
to know, do they work with ring locks?
Yes, they do work with ring locks. As a matter of fact, this is my preferred method. I love it, and all of these shades that you see here are fabricated with ring locks. I'll show in the back.
There you go.
Yep.
Right, very nice. How are you guys liking this so far? Pretty interesting.
All right, so now we're moving to the star of the show. The star of the show is our cordless shade. I know everybody's been asking about that. Everybody's interested in it, and for a very good reason. It is a shade like no one else. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's you're saying it's cordless because we don't have what we call the operating chain or anything like, or thing, but it is still corded on the back, but it's not.
Yes.
It doesn't.
I think that's a common misconception now.
Yes.
We call those cordless because they don't have pull cord. But yes, indeed, they do still have cords at the back, so it's not completely cordless in that respect. Those are all. This one sample also fabricated with ring locks. I love them. And okay, so let's see how this works.
And Nina, before we go tonight too, I'm afraid I'm going to forget this. I will, if you don't mind, I would like for everyone to see how you're mounting these up on the.
Oh yes, that's my bonus.
Okay, that's your bonus tip. Don't let her forget the bonus tip.
That's my bonus. All right, so this, like when I said that this is a shade like no other, I meant that it uses a spring that's totally different from the coil spring that we knew from the past. It doesn't roll around a tube bar. It is conceptually very, very different and quite scientific, if you ask me. So it is what they call that free floating system. As you can see, I can pull it and stop at any level. I don't need to hear the latching of the other spring. There is no rotation, certain rotations than the spring or the tube bar has to make. You can simply stop at any given point. Raising the shade is quite easy as well. You just lift it up to wherever you want to stop, you let it go, it's done. So when I say that this is scientific, believe me, it really is. The shade operates on a very well calculated balance between weight and tension. So the tension comes from a spring, of course, and the weight is the weight of your shade. I need you to understand that, and this will explain why the weight of the shade is very important. Because one thing is, when you order this kit, we will ask you what is the weight of the shade, including the weight bar and the ribs if you use any ribs. And a lot of people got upset about that because they don't know, they haven't fabricated the shade yet, so they don't know how heavy the shade will be. But here's a tip: you can always cut the fabric, lining, interlining, whatever you use, dump the ribs and weight bar, put them on a scale and measure. You don't have to have the shade physically made just to measure it. And then we will calculate the correct and set up the correct configuration for the shade. And I'll explain now why. So now, believe it or not, but this is the spring. This is the spring that drives this shade. It's this small. It's just about 2 inches. And this spring works very much, the way it works resembles the measurement tape. So you have one metal tape, you pull it up, you pull it out, it has tension, you can feel it. Unless you lock the tape, if you let it go, it's gonna roll back on, right? So same thing happens here. It is a metal tape round up with tension, and this pin here keeps it locked. That's the bottom, the bottom of our measuring tape. All right. Okay, but how many tape you can roll into this small guy here? Not much. I'll tell you, about 24 inches. That's it. So we don't have enough revolutions here to accommodate for the length of the shade. These guys can drive shade longer than 100 inches and over. So to do that, the VAKO engineers came up with very smart solution. This little part here, it's called accelerator. You may have seen that on VAKO brochures. It works in a very smart way. So on both sides, we have attached the square bar. And as you rotate one side, the other side rotates 4 times faster. So it works very much like, and I have a little mark here so you will see the rotation. All right. So this little guy works very much like the gearbox in your car. You just shift and you change the gear. So the gear here is set to 1 to 4, meaning that if the spring is hooked to a square bar, hooked to the gearbox, and then on the other side we will have a square rod with the drums and the cords. So this guy here makes 1 rotation. This side here makes 4 rotations. Genius, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually. Very fascinating.
Yeah, and all of this is fitting into the same tube, all hidden into this slim profile. All right, what's
You want to take some questions? Or?
Yes.
Let's see. Sarah just said that she has trouble finding out what the weight is too.
Okay.
And Giovanna says, "Oh, good question. How far apart the rings have to? How far apart?"
Thanks for that question. That's a very interesting question, and I'll be glad to explain. So let me finish first my thought about the springs and the weight. So if each one of these springs can support 1.5 pounds of weight. If the shade is over 1.5 pounds, the spring will not have enough power to lift the shade up. So if the shade weighs over 1.5 pounds, we will add a second spring to boost the power of this one. With 2 springs of that, you can drive a shade that weighs 3 pounds. And as far you go, over 3 pounds, we add a third one, etc., etc., etc. So that's not a problem. In that sense, we can have very large, very wide shade and still drive it with these springs. So now, wonderful question about the ring spacing. So this spring sits in the beginning of the bar of the aluminum profile, and thus the cord will be offset into the middle of the shade. All right, so we have the spring bar here. The spring here. We have an end cap here, and then the first and the further this position that we can place this cord is about 3 inches into the shade. Not everybody makes their first row of rings 3 inches into the shades. So somebody likes to put them like 1.5 inch as right next to the hem. Okay, for that matter, we have this wonderful guide to offset the cord. So if that's the case, you can have and that's a demo, so it's always hard to do. All right, so this is a cord offset clip. It is very thin, very elegant. It's powder coated, so it blends with the aluminum profile. You won't see it. And we put it right here to whatever distance you want to offset your cord. And when you start threading your shade, you just thread this cord through that eyelet here. It has a little grommet in it, so makes the movement very smooth, so it's not going to rub the cord. And this is how you offset it. So that's another thing that we ask ahead of time before we can set up your configuration, to make sure that we will have the right amount and right placement of your cords. So thanks for the great question.
Okay, more questions.
Do we have more?
Yes, we do.
Yes, please.
Let's see, and what is the maximum width and length?
I don't have a definite answer to that. Like I said, based on the weight, we can do very wide and very heavy shades. But unfortunately, I don't have the definite answer to that. I'm sorry. We okay. Let me continue a little bit. We are working on the limits for setting limits for width, length, and weight for the different systems. We haven't completed it yet. It's something that we are working on. As soon as that's available, I will let you know.
And then Sherry asked, what is the largest cordless shade that you have done?
46.
46, yeah. And it works really well. I mean,
yes,
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I have it in my showroom.
Very good. Okay, good questions.
Yeah, thank you guys. Are we ready to move to the next one?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, before we move to the next one, a little something a little different. Here's another great adventure of this program. Why do we think that this is a great program to stock up on raw materials? Because, like I said in the beginning, you only need one headrail, one aluminum profile, and you can use any of these different lift components. But further than that, we can also save from shipping. How? We have these wonderful another genius part that engineers in VAKO came up with. It's called a connector. So this connector works very well to connect two, again.
Yeah, it takes time.
I'm shaking. No, okay. Give me a second. I will put them together. But it connects two pieces together, and it not only connects the aluminum headrail, but also connects the rods. So you can have splices of aluminum profile, square rods, and you can ship, like let's say we have very wide shade over 8 feet, for example. That you know how expensive that will be to ship it, but luckily we don't need to do that because we have this wonderful connector, and we can ship it in parts, and that does not affect the operation of the shade at any way. All right, Sandra, remind me to put that together and show it.
Okay.
Now I want to move to our next star.
And I'm gonna where you're moving it, I'm gonna pop up a question. I'll ask you out loud, and then you can answer it as you're doing that if you'd like. And Giovanna asked, "Do you use ribs?"
Yes, I do. I love using ribs. All of these shades do have ribs. All of them are black outlined and interlined, and they have ribs and rings or ring locks. All right. So I have two identical top down, bottom up. All right. So like I said in the beginning, this was the thing that made me stop at VAKO's booth, and I was so fascinated with that. Once again, we have a drum that fits into the same profile. This drum, though, has two spools.
I'm gonna get overhead on that one. Push that other reel out of the way.
All right. So one spool drives the standard operation, bottom up and down. The other one drives the top down. All right. Good. So we have a floating bar here, which is also aluminum profile, very slick and very, very thin. All of those, sorry, I forgot to mention that, but all of these headrails are designed to be mounted with Velcro. And you asked me if those could be mounted on a board. Yes, they can. However, I witnessed several, not several, a lot. I like to go on my installations with the installer. And at one particular installation, we had those huge shades, like 112 inches long and 52 inches wide, white linen, mounted on the board. Boy, was that something. It was really hard to install them because, first of all, they're white, heavy, then they wrinkle a lot and they're white, so you cannot touch them too much. But you put the L brackets into the casing, then you put the mount, then you put the, you mount the board, and then on the board you have to clip the headrail to the mounting brackets. But then you have all the shade hanging like that, so you have to fight it, go behind, try to find the mounting brackets, click. It was a big hustle. And then I started, well, all right, why don't I try the Velcro? Honestly, never liked a shade on the Velcro until I found a way to make it not pokering. And there are plenty of those methods available throughout our groups on Facebook. So find your own, and you know whichever works best for you. I can tell you how I do it. I sew the Velcro on the very top on the fabric, and then flip it over, make a little over edge here, and then either hot glue or base stitching to the back of the shade, and that makes you don't see any stitches on the face side, so it's nice and clean. And if you put a strip of buckram underneath, it's going to be very smooth, no puckering at all. And this makes for a lot easier installation. Mm-hmm. So a little secret here, Sandra's husband just popped in, and he's as an installer can confirm that, I guess.
It's Kenny V, he will.
All right. So about this shade, this floating bar here also comes with a Velcro, so the shade is mounted on a Velcro here. And yeah, so one side operates the top up, the other one operates the bottom, top down and bottom up. Okay, what are the challenges here? When you hit the bottom point, you can still okay, the other side. You hit the bottom. Oh, all right. And you continue to pull your chain loop, and this will overturn the drums and will change the rotation of the drums. Well, sometimes, most of the times, this could mess up the level of your shade. So you do this with both sides, and your shade may come unlevel or uneven. And yeah, as you can see here already, there is slight bigger gap on that side. That means that the shade is already crooked. So to avoid that happening, engineers at VAKO came with another genius solution. And this is really, really cool. So on this one, as I was trying to over rotate, I couldn't because the loop stops here. So there is a stopping mechanism inside the headrail. And the same applies for this side as well. Once you hit the top part, you cannot over rotate the cords. So there is a part, that's why I looked underneath here to make sure that it's on this side, because these are identical otherwise. So that part, I can show it on the brochure. It's easier to see. All right.
I'll do it over for you.
It's this one here. It's called stopper, and it looks just like the double cord drum, but this one is threaded. The drums are threaded like a screw. And here in the beginning of this threaded spool, there is a little part sitting like a notch, and it has a notch on one side. The other bar has the same notch, and they kind of look at each other like that, and they lock to each other. So you start pulling the shade top down, and you hit one spot, the bottom spot, and the notch stays here. You start rolling the other way, and the other notch going to in different the opposite rotation, hits this bar, and they interlock, and the shade does not go any further.
It's amazing.
It is. It's amazing indeed. Yes, agree. So this part, like I said, will prevent from over rotating and messing up your shade, so you will never be called on support call. How this double cord is accommodated into the headrail is another very interesting part. So we have this square rod that normally would go into the clutch, or if we use any other driving device, and there is a offset what is that called, Sandra?
A connector.
Connector. Let's call it connector. Yeah. And as you can see, can we show the upper view? So it sits on one side of the housing. Thanks, Ken. So on the other side of the shade, we have the same piece but sitting on the opposite side, and that makes a place and way for two square rods to be placed into the aluminum profile and drive independently. We have a question?
You have a couple of questions. You tell me when you're ready, and I'll
yeah, I am.
Okay, all right. Let me go back a little bit. And Sarah wanted to know where you were located, and I answered her that you were in Raleigh.
Yes, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Asked them to follow you, and then Karen Leving said, "Great job, girls."
Thanks, Karen.
And then let's see, Lisa said that she loves that there's only one headrail system in different methods, and that the projection's only 1.5.
Yes, that's right.
And let's see, Sherry asked, was there a ring or anything on the back to lift it for the cordless? She was thinking, I think, Sherry, tell me if you're wrong, you were thinking that maybe it's kind of like a spring system where there's a string that where there would like a center string that you pull down.
Oh, for the pull bar. Yeah. No, in this case, for that shade, because I didn't need it because I have enough leverage to pull the bar and it's my sample. But the kit doesn't come with such. However, depending on the method of fabrication, you can use any other way of pulling that you have used in the past. If you have a permanent fold, you can embed one ring hanging from the permanent fold. If you don't have, a lot of people do that at the very last bar, like I have a pocket sewn here to the very last rib, and you can stitch one here and have it hanging, either fabric, tab, like those we do on Safety Shade, or a hanging ring, whatever works for you. And you don't need to have a center cord to do that. So that's not a requirement. You can do it between two cords. Mm-hmm. No need to have odd number of cords with this system.
Okay, good. Very good question. And what is the minimum width for the cordless shades?
15 inches.
15. Wow, that's great. Oh, okay.
Actually, it's 12 and something, but I say 15 to stay on the safe side.
There you go. Very safe and sorry. And then Kelly wants to know, is the cord size on the cordless and the top down, bottom up also 1.2?
The cordless come with even thinner. It's 0.9. And the top down, bottom up is so these are the only drums, the double drums that do not come with pre-wind cord. So we assemble with the cord. So the cord that we stock is 1.2.
Okay. Alrighty. And Kevin's going to ask, when and where is this available? And you're going to give all that information in the end. We have about 10 minutes.
Yeah. All right.
And then, hang on 1 second. And then Karen wants to know, how many rows across do I place the rings for?
How many rows across do I place the rings?
If she has a 30-inch shape. I think that...
I would do 3 cords on... okay. So another very valid question. So the minimum distance they could be apart is 10 inches. Why? Because you put this back to back 2 of those drums, they are 5 inches long each. So it's 10 inches.
Yeah. Okay.
I also wanted to mention that when you purchase the kit, it also comes not only with the pre-wind drums, but also with those cord stoppers. The cord stoppers are the very well-known orbs, we all know, but these are also VAKO orbs. They squeeze very easily. You don't need pliers to do that. As you can see, I can squeeze that as a stress ball right now. And they are very transparent and UV resistant. We also offer rings. They're slightly smaller than the rings we use here. Also same transparent material, also UV resistant, and they work just fine with the cord locks, with the ring locks, I'm sorry. What else I've missed? Okay, so we have the Motorized Shade for the last. I don't have a sample of that, but I do have the parts. So once again, everything fits into this slim profile. This is a tubular motor, and this one comes from VAKO, but essentially you can use any... Sorry, it's a little blurry here.
Hang on 1 second. Let me see if I can fix it.
Okay, I think that's quite well. So you can use any other Somfy compatible motor that is 3080 millimeters in diameter. We have brackets that will come up. Yeah, brackets to fit into the rail, and they work like connectors for all kinds of motors. So whatever tubular motor of that size you have, we will have adjusting brackets to fit into the rail. This motor comes with separate battery pack, also fits into the head rail. All right, and single multi-channel remote control and charger on 110 volts. If you have chargers from other shades, they are compatible. They work just as well. And now I promise to hook this up. Do we have any other questions?
Okay, while you're doing that, let me see. We have we did that. Sherry said thank you, and not a question, but Deb Cronin said that she is impressed with the system and its options, and how well it's well versed, and how well versed you are in the details. A great presentation. She can't wait to try it out.
Oh, thank you, Deborah.
And then Mary said she wants to see the top down bottom up rail up close.
Of course.
And does it have rings attached to it?
So
let me see if I can do it over
this is exactly the same headrail that I've already shown, and it's the same. It uses the same clutch as the chain operation, only the drums are different, and this little part that offsets the square rod to one side, and just it's not positioned in the center of the shade but offside, so it makes room for the other one on the opposite.
Okay.
I don't understand what kind of rings she was asking about.
Rings
on the back of the shade?
Maybe
yes.
On the back of the shade. Yes. Yep. You would string it just like you would your normal Roman shade.
For some, I do have ring locks too here just as well. One other thing is that, you know, those guys in VAKO really pay attention to the smallest details. If some of you that have cut their aluminum profiles, you may have experienced that already. When aluminum is very soft metal, you squeeze it a little bit at the saw and it's smashed already. And if you smash it, parts wouldn't fit any longer, because everything here is designed to fit like a glove. So very little room, very little wiggling room. So these people came up with another ingenious solution. So it's just a little plastic thing you put in here right next to where you're gonna cut, so that keeps the profile intact. You can hear and no troubles.
That is really good.
Yes. So basically, whatever orange part you see in VAKO components, that's not meant to work. It's meant to be discharged or used for other purposes.
Okay. Let me see. Mary said, let me get down here. Hang on a second. Let me get my thing. Mary said that she would like to see the top rail with the fabric is what she wanted to see. The top down, bottom up, the very top rail.
This one or the floating bar?
The floating bar.
The floating bar. Okay.
Yes.
I will peel off the shade. Maybe this will help.
I'm gonna move some of this out of the way for you.
All right. Here it is. This comes with plastic caps here, so you can close, and once the profile is cut, it's not raw, but with plastic cap. I can take it apart probably, so you can see. Yeah, here. Which way? This way.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I got a question.
Mr. Installer has a question.
Mr. Installer has a question.
What's the minimum and maximum with motorized?
Once again, this is something that we are working on to establish the exact parameters for the limits. I can tell you what was the widest that I've made. It was 8 pounds, and it was 76 wide by 85 with blackout and neutral lining. Quite heavy, but worked like a charm.
Right.
Thank you.
How small?
A small, that will be determined by, we need to have enough room. I lost the battery pack. So, yeah, no, that's the battery pack. So,
So it looks like 15 inches again.
no, we still need drums. So at least
okay.
5 more,
Okay.
10 more inches.
So 20 something.
Yes.
25 probably.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe can tell the Somfy tubular motors. Do they have battery in them, or it comes as a separate part?
I'm not sure anything small like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one I just used one with the Somfy, but it didn't have battery in it. And it
Okay, so you still need an extra battery, but those batteries you can put aside on hook brackets.
Yes, they have brackets for them. And Karen,
So
you're out there. You might can answer to that on the Somfy motors, the ones that are. Because I just had one for 18 inches, and I had the Somfy, but they couldn't put the battery inside, so it had an external battery pack. Yeah. And they've got some new ones out right now too.
They do. Yeah, I'm still not familiar with those, but I'm told that they are compatible with any tubular motor that's 38 millimeters. So whatever you find on the market, you're free to use it.
Oh wow, good. Okay, let's see. Elke said this presentation was wonderful. Excellent job.
Elke, that means a lot from you.
And then if I say Kalina, that's it, right?
Yes.
Said she loves watching you.
Thanks, Kalina.
And then Deb has a question. She said, "Can you show the operation of the cordless again? Yeah. I've been watching in the kitchen making dinner." And her husband wants to see it.
Okay, you want to see how it works, or you want me to explain the spring situation?
I think he wants to see it. So go ahead and explain it. All
right. So because that's not the standard coil spring, it doesn't operate on that principle. So you can pull and stop at any given point. See, I'm making very small increments. I don't wait for anything to click or make a rotation or something like that. And same applies to raising the shade. You can push it with your hand and stop at any given moment. Why? The system is based on precise balance between tension of the spring and the weight of the shade. Apparently, to back up my point about why it's important to know the weight of the shade, and I've been asked by some people, why don't you just overestimate and put an extra spring and make sure that it works? Because if you put it more than what you need as spring power, the shade may not lower, because the spring is so hard, so strong, you cannot pull down. So that's why we need to have just as the right amount of springs and power to it. You can't overkill it.
And she said thanks. And
Pleasure.
then Kevin had a good question. He wants to know, top down, bottom up, can it be motorized?
Yes, it can. It makes for very complicated kid, but basically it can. Yes.
Thanks, Kevin. One question that I have is, can the motorization can you integrate it with a hub?
Great question also. No, not at the moment. Those motors, unfortunately, do not have that capability. They're very simple, basic motors. But like I said, if you find a motor that can communicate with third-party software, you're free to use it. We have brackets for all.
Okay, yeah, that was my thought too. That if you said we could integrate it with something, then we can
yes.
Go ahead and integrate with the
hub. In the near future, we will have smart motors that can communicate with Alexa and other smart home systems. Not at the moment, though. That's another reason why you need to follow us and stay informed.
Now, your bonus. I don't want to interrupt unless you have something else. But...
No. Yeah, time for my bonus. So you've seen how easy I put up and take down a shade. I use something that my husband, being genius himself, came up with this invention. So you see how the brackets have a little room here behind the bracket and between the rail. So we utilized that, and he made this ruler mounted on a board, and this ruler is the thickness fits right into this.
I might do overhead of that.
This distance, and it just clicks in like a French clip. Bum. And this is what I have on my wall, on my workroom valets, and it's so easy. You don't need to screw or push the bracket, anything like that.
That is worth its weight in gold right there. That, tell your husband thank you.
I will, thanks.
And Patricia just asked that question. How is she attaching the blind to the stand?
I hope you saw that, Patricia.
Yeah, she just asked that. And then Elke wanted to know, do you have 2 weight bars in the cordless system?
No, Elke, we do not. And that's another great question. I thank you for that. We don't need too much weight on the cordless system, unlike the other, unlike the regular spring, coil spring, because we don't need that weight at the top, at the bottom, to unlatch the spring. Like I said, very delicate balance between the weight and the power in the spring, the tension, so you don't need much. I only use a single weight bar like this, not even any wider. It's 1 inch, just to keep it straight.
Very good. Now, I'm going to come back around, Nina.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other questions that you all have out there? There's about a 15-second delay, so.
All right. Yeah, we are a little bit
So
late,
that's
but
why
I had a lot of fun showing that, and honestly, I'm thrilled to do that. Such a wonderful audience. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having me, Sandra.
Oh, thank you for coming. This was
so
so excited, and whenever I heard about the different components, and working with the people from VAKO, not VAKO, VAKO, I was so excited, and very excited to hear that you were going to be distributing this for them, and excited that you're just right down the road, by the way.
No shipping.
No shipping, that's right. So thank you so much for being here. And everyone, just give her some claps and hearts and everything out there. And I just want to say to all of you, I'm so glad that you came here tonight. And Nina, how can they reach out to you?
Currently, we take orders sent by email. You can email to sales@myshadekit.com. Or simply call me. The phone number is 1-877-731-13. No, I messed it up. I'm sorry. We'll post that.
Yes, we can do that. But right now, she is definitely on Facebook. Shade
Kit, and Instagram.
And Instagram, yes, definitely follow her. Thank you all for being here. And I just want to say, if you or someone you know would like to learn how to make Roman shades, whether they be top down, bottom up, or any of the systems, please, let me know. Reach out to me on my website, SandraVanSickle.com, because I give private online training classes where you can learn from the very comfort of your own home. So. Okay, everyone, and thank you again, and we will say good night and see you next time on the Live with Sandra V show.